Okay, welcome to Bar Model Reasoning Part 3A. Some of these problems will look familiar, and then of course there's a bump up in reasoning too. So just apply what you know and create mathematically. Off you go. Okay, you should have a sheet of paper folded into 4 equal parts, and this will be question number 1. Read the challenge, draw each section of it, and then find a solution by working from your drawing. Stop the tape while you do your work, and then as you finish, you may check the solution and see how you did. Okay, when I look at this problem, I realize we are keeping track of how many men and how many women are in a park. So who is involved? Men and women. Then to figure out who has the smallest amount, I go back to my sentence. There are 3 times as many men as women. So the women have the smallest amount, so we will give them the box. Now I go back to my sentence and draw in each part. There are 3 times as many men as women. So the men have 3 times as many. So that would be 1, 2 times as many, 3 times as many. Now, if there are 412 adults, so all together, men and women, we have 412 adults. In the park altogether, how many men are they? So what I would like to know is, how many is this? How many men? Now, when I look at my drawing, I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. So I want to split this 412 into 4 equal parts, and that means division. So using our partial quotient strategy, I've got 412 that I'm going to split into 4 equal groups. I start with my largest place value. Could I have 100 groups of 4? 100 groups of 4, yes, because that would be 400. Then I would still have 12 to put into groups of 4, and I know that 3 groups of 4 is 12. I have no more left. So how many groups of 4 do I have? I have 103. So 103 groups of 4. So there's 103 in each one of these boxes. Each one has 103 in them. But I just want to know how many the men are. So I have 3 groups of 103, and that would be 309. So there's 309 men. Okay, here is challenge number 2 of this set. Read it, draw it, and then solve it. Stop the tape while you're doing your work, and then turn the tape back on when you're ready for a solution. Okay, when I look at this problem, I see that I'm keeping track of the number of boys and the number of girls. So that's who's involved, boys and girls. And then I go look to see who has the smallest amount. Well, the number of boys is 4 times the number of girls. So the girls have the smallest amount. So I'm going to give them the box. Then I go back to my sentence and I draw each part. The number of boys is 4 times the number of girls. So I've got to draw 1 times, 2 times as many, 3 times as many, 4 times as many for the boys. Now, if there are 450 children in altogether, so both boys and girls altogether, there's 450. And I want to know how many boys there are. So that's where my question mark is. Now, when I look at this drawing, I see that I have split 450 into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. And I want to know what is in one part. Well, that would be our friendly partial quotient strategy. 450 split into 5 equal parts. It's division. Now, I can't have 100 groups of 5 because that's 500. That's too many. So I think I'll start with 50 groups of 5. So 50 groups of 5 would be 250. Then I want to know how many I have left to still put into groups of 5. So that would be 20. Now, I know that 4 times 5 is 20, so I think I'll try 40 groups of 5. And that would be 200. Yay! So I have no more to put into groups of 5. How many groups of 5 do I have? Well, 90. 90 groups of 5. So that means that there is 90 in each one of these 5 boxes. But my question is, how many boys are there? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 90. 4 groups of 90. And that would be 360. So that means that there are 360 boys in the child care center. Okay, this is challenge number 3. Please read the challenge, draw it, solve it, stop the tape while you're doing your work, and then restart the tape to check your solution. Okay, this is a long problem, but if you take it bit by bit, it just seems to all come together then. So I'm going to start with our question of who is involved, and we know that Miranda is involved, and Emma, and Coral, and we're keeping track of the money that they spent. All right, now who has the smallest amount? This is a puzzle. All right, Miranda spent 3 times as much as Emma, so it's not Miranda. And Coral spent half as much as Emma. So if Coral spent half as much as Emma, then I think Coral has the smallest amount. So we're going to give Coral the box. And now let's go draw the challenge bit by bit. Miranda, Emma, and Coral spent $108. So all together, they spent $108. Miranda spent 3 times as many as Emma, but I don't know what Emma spent yet, so I can't put that in. And Coral spent half as much as Emma. So if Coral spent half as much as Emma, then I've got to give Emma 2 boxes. Now let's go back and take care of Miranda. It says Miranda spent 3 times as many as Emma. So I've got to draw Emma's 1 time, 2 times, and then 3 times. Now I know that might be a little confusion because I put the line separating Miranda's box. But if you look carefully, you'll see that this is 1 of Emma's. This is 2 times as many, and then this is 3 times as many. It's just that Emma has 2 times as many as Coral. Okay, let's go back to the situation and see if we can solve it. All right. How much more did Miranda spend than Coral? So I want to know the difference from here to here. Because right here and right here, Miranda and Coral spent the same amount. So I want to know how much is from this section all the way to there. So I've got to find out how much is in each box. Well, when I look at the drawing, I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes. So I'm going to split 108 into 9 parts. So that's our good old partial quotient strategy, 108 divided by 9. Well, if I did 10 groups of 9, that would be 90. And I subtract, and I see that I have 18 left to put into groups of 9, and I know that 2 groups of 9 is 18. So that will take care of that. Then I look to see I have 12 groups of 9. So there's going to be 12 in each one of these boxes. But I go back to the question of how much more did Miranda spend than Coral? So I wanted to know the difference here and here. So that difference would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. So 5 groups of 12. 60. So from here to here would be 60. So Miranda spent $60 more than Coral. Okay, good job. Okay, this is the last problem in this group of 4. It's a little bit tricky, but don't get discouraged. Stay with drawing each part of the challenge and then just see if that drawing doesn't tell you exactly what the answer should be. Draw it, solve it, stop the tape while you're working, and restart it when you're ready to check your answer. All right, I have to tell you, when I looked at the question, how much must James give Emily so that each has the same amount of savings, I wasn't really sure what to do here. It left me a little bit puzzled, so I just decided to go ahead and go through the steps of the bar model, take each part at a time, and see if I can't figure out an answer from that drawing. So who is involved? Of course, it's Emily and James. And who has the smallest amount? Well, Emily saved $386, but James saved 3 times as much as Emily. So Emily saved the smallest amount. So we'll give her the smallest amount to give her the box. So now I go back and draw each section. So Emily saved $386. So I will put that here. Oops, $86. And James saved 3 times as much. So James saved 3 times as much as Emily. 1, 2 times as much, 3 times as much. How much must James give Emily so that each has the same amount of savings? So I want Emily to end up here. So the question is, what would get them to there? And what would get them to the same amount? Well, now that I look at the drawing, I realize that really I could just take one of these boxes and move it up to there. And I know that inside each of those boxes, because James has 3 times as many, inside each one of those boxes is $386. So James, if you gave Emily $386, then Emily and James would have the same amount. A lot easier once I worked from the drawing. Great job, guys. Thanks for hanging in there and doing all problems. Be sure you turn in your work at school tomorrow.